right, everybody. Back again, episode 2. All right, here we go again, you guys. Episode 2. I'm your host, Adam the One Huntsaker of the Steak and Potatoes podcast. I have a guest here today.
Hello.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Drea.
Drea is my one and only, my love right here, and she decided to jump in on this podcast, and we'll see where it goes. Well, first thing I want to talk about is I listened back to my other podcast, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny when you hear yourself back. I guess I've recorded songs and stuff like that, but you know, I've never really recorded myself talking for this long of an amount of time.
Okay.
And you start to realize all the little things you say all the time. Mm-hmm. So I named the last podcast, times 1,000, because it was ridiculous. I said, every 2 seconds. So do I do that in real life when we're talking?
No, never.
Never?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. Well, at least I don't say a million times.
I guess maybe when you're telling a story and you say that, you tend to... I notice that when you're telling a story, you tend to swallow hard, smack your lips, and you tend to say a lot.
I'm a lip smacker, huh?
Yeah. It's like a hard swallow.
Well then, damn. At least I'm not one of those people that says every second.
Yeah, it's pretty close to it.
Yeah, I guess so. Sometimes I'm doing the little count off when I have people in my car when I'm doing rideshare. When I hear them talk, I'm like 1 2 3 4 5
It's very Valley Girlish. if you think about it. It's yeah. And
You think is?
Yeah, it's
Well, I don't say it like that.
No, I know, but I know you're not saying it like that, but...
Yeah. If I started saying it like that, please slap me upside the head, all right?
Okay. You gave me permission.
I did. I guess this could be used in court, huh? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I was looking at other podcasts, and there's other podcasts that I do like. I know there's other ones that you like as well. And, I was just looking at their formats and how they do all their things, their segments or what they kind of do to fill up the time, with the episodes.
There are some really good podcasts out there now. I think that's probably become the new form of radio. I think I'd rather listen to, I don't know if it's just because we're getting older, but I'd rather listen to podcasts than listen to music most of the time, I would even say.
Absolutely. I think I listen to it's gonna sound crazy, but almost 22 hours of podcast a week, just from driving.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's a day of podcasts.
Well,
but I think I listen to pretty much probably around the same, because I like to put it on as background, for whatever I'm doing, and then I like to listen to a lot of different ones, and you get I think you get informed, and at the same time it's it could be I like to listen to a lot of comedy based podcasts.
Yeah, me too.
With comedians and things like that, and a lot of those will bring a lot of humor into current events, And it kind of, it's for me, it's you learn current events, but at the same time, you're at a comedy show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a really good way of keeping up with the world today.
Well, sometimes I'm driving literally when I'm working, and it's quiet as can be in the car, and then I just start laughing hysterically, and tears are running down my face, and people are always looking at me like I'm a psychotic person because they don't realize I have one headphone in, then I have to tell them oh, I'm listening to a podcast,
Yeah, today some great comedians are on there, and I probably would say one of the hardest times I've laughed is with listening to podcasts.
What's your favorite podcast right now?
It's hard to say favorite podcast. I listen to just different podcasts. I don't think there's one go-to, but I like to listen to one of my top ones, I would say, is the Jenna and Julian podcast. I really like the Jenna Marbles on YouTube, Jenna and Julian podcast, and Julian is her boyfriend, or I don't know. I guess her boyfriend, it's her boyfriend, and they've been together for a while, and they started a podcast maybe a year or 2 ago, and they do one every week on Mondays, and they do different things. They talk about things that are going on in YouTube or something going on in the news. And my favorite ones, like my favorite topics, are like the ones where they play games. They play games during the podcast.
Oh, okay, so they play like what, like Scrabble or what?
No,
game?
not,
What
no,
game?
yeah, not
Well, yeah,
Scrabble.
you can't really play Scrabble on a podcast, right? I don't know why I said that. That's interesting. So,
But they'll play like some sort of card games, like kind of like Cards Against Humanity type games, you
okay.
know? Like, and where it's like situational, and they'll go through these cards and they'll say what each one would do, or like just like playing one of
All
those
right.
type, modern type games. I think they're getting a lot of them from Target, because Target does have a good they've like developed some board game or like card games.
Yeah, they have a lot of
board and
games.
card games.
They have a lot of games at Target.
And like Target, it never used to be like that. It was just like basic things that you can get. I guess back in the day when I used to go to Target.
Yeah, it was just mostly like shitty furniture that would break like within a week, right?
Yeah, and just just basic necessities that you need. Like they'll have maybe like a blue polo shirt for men, and like khakis and
like
pajamas,
like Isaac Mizrahi stuff like that.
No, I don't think so. No, they don't have like it's just more like just regular
Like AAA
shirts.
t-shirts.
Yeah, they're just like regular t-shirts, and it used to be like that. Now it's like they've actually tried to incorporate some, I guess Target designers into stuff, and I guess maybe some people were developing some new games, in Target, and I like a lot of the games that they carry now. I don't know if it's like Target games per se, but I like the games that they carry. Like,
I got you.
We bought a game, or I bought a game, I should say, probably like a year ago, and this was a while ago. But first I should say I like playing games a lot. Like I will always go to Target and buy a game just to, play with our friends or whatever. And the last game I bought was the accent game.
Oh yeah, I did really enjoy that game.
Yeah,
That game was pretty fun.
so it was like, it's basically this, I forget what it's called, but it comes like in a yellowish box, and basically you get cards and you have to read them in whatever accent. Like you get a card of accents, and then you get a card of just like little paragraphs.
Like statements you have to say.
Yeah, statements or sentences, and you have to read the sentences in that accent. And it is kind of like, it's so funny because like it's the best to play it with people you know very well. Like I would think it's a little bit more embarrassing if you play it with people.
And
that
I'm
you
sure
don't.
it could come off offensive sometimes, right? Too, like if you get like an Asian character maybe or something like that, it might come off offensive, I would think.
Yeah, I mean it's very like I would say it's a pretty racist game, It's like a free.
Is that what that's what they named it, like racism, the card game?
Yeah, it's very stereotypical, and you hear what it, you start to hear what's in people's heads, you know what I mean?
Shit.
Like their version of whatever sounds like. So they'll have Irish, Canadian, maybe they might have Asian or Middle Eastern or something like that.
Oh no!
I think you got Middle Eastern once, and
throwing me under the bus here, huh?
it was a pretty good accent. I'm saying I think you won that round, but yeah, like you'll have different types of accents, and it's a fun game. It's best to play though when like I said, like when you're around the people because you're a little bit more comfortable as opposed to like people that you don't know. It could be kind of like,
it could be a little awkward, right?
But we played it with really good friends that we're really close with, so we were even like, but it was so funny because it's like so cringeworthy sometimes, because like me and my best friend, we kept like looking at each other sometimes when we had to do an accent. We kept laughing at each other, like looking before we would even start to read it.
You feel ridiculous sometimes, as you start going, I do remember
some
that
of
game.
them are so cringeworthy. And then we play with our other friend, which is her sister, who's also a close friend of ours, and her accents were terrible.
I do remember that. Like everything sounded like
a cartoon.
Sounded like Yosemite Sam or something like that. It was so bad.
Each accent, no matter what card she got, sounded the same.
Yeah, I think I remember we were like, "What was your person that says Irish?" So we're like, "So were they an Irish person that was born in like the South or something?" Because everything was like,
she was the worst at it, but it was so cute and funny at the same time because she was trying so hard. She was trying so hard, and we were like, it was definitely cringeworthy though, for sure.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
that's a really good game, but yeah, there's other games that are similar type games as that you can play. You know, that's what they do on their podcast. They even said that they went to Target and bought a bunch of games. But I do like other podcasts. Probably the other ones I listen to the most, would be like Joey Diaz. I love Joey.
Yeah, if anyone's seen, like, heard or watched it on YouTube, the Joey Diaz podcast, man, they like
The Church of What's Happening Now.
They
That's
go,
what it's called.
They go on like drug journeys on their podcast.
It's
like
hilarious.
It was so insane. It's so crazy. Like I never thought that you'd be able to, just witness somebody like taking acid and doing like a podcast
It's
or like
so funny.
or like
Lee Syatt is one of the funniest.
He's the co-host.
Oh my god!
But they torture him though. They force feed him edibles. They go over like 2,000 milligrams, like something insane.
Yeah,
like
he's like dying in the podcast. But the best part of it is his laugh. Like I love listening to him laugh. Like when he gets the giggles and he starts laughing a lot.
It's so sad though. Sometimes they show him like as they're talking, they'll zoom in on him a little bit, or just show like you'll notice him a little bit more, and he's just like it looks like he's about to pass out, and all they're saying is just look at the yellow on the poster. Look at the yellow. It'll make you feel better.
He's so funny. I like a lot of his. He tells a lot of stories of back when he was younger, I guess. His
Joey.
Cocaine days. Yeah. Joey, his cocaine days.
Just like all the crimes he did and stuff.
Yeah.
He's just a crazy dude. How he used to like jump out of trees and like mug people in the park and shit. Just like
calls
crazy
himself like
shit.
an animal. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, he's crazy, man.
That would be probably the second one I listen to the most. The Church of What's Happening Now.
Yeah, they're one podcast that has like zero format whatsoever. It just goes with the
Yeah.
flow. Maybe the only thing they do different is like on Monday they play like a certain song midway. That's about it. Like every Monday is like a tradition. They play one song.
Halfway through?
Yeah, halfway through. It's what's his name?
It's always the same.
Burt Baccarat. Yeah.
It's always the same.
It's always the same one. Not in the beginning, but in the midway, because he says it reminds him of his mother.
I never noticed that.
Yeah, every one of his Monday podcasts, he plays that song.
Oh.
But I wanted to get into. I went to the studio yesterday.
Well,
but,
you didn't tell me what your favorite podcasts are.
Well, okay, yeah. Let me get to that. All right. Well, I really like The Fighter and the Kid. It's so stupid. It's like really ridiculously dumb, but it makes me laugh a lot, and it talks about like MMA and stuff like that. So I enjoy it a lot. It's mostly like Brendan Schaub. He's like an ex MMA fighter. He was a heavyweight contender, and Brian Callen, who's like a stand-up comedian, and they form together and make a podcast called The Fighter and the Kid. And pretty much they just, talk about their lives or the fights that are coming up. But they always have.
Is this on YouTube? Or?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Yeah, you can check it out. But they're always like laughing at each other and kind of like undercutting each other every time. You know what I mean? Trying to find ways to make the other one look stupid. And that's probably one of my favorite podcasts, Fighter and the Kid. I listen to that every week. They do about 2 episodes or so, or 3 episodes a week. So yeah, that's my go-to.
What other ones? Is there another like top? Like, what's your top 2 or top 3?
I like the Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah.
Jerry, I like that one a lot.
Joe Rogan Experience is pretty good. Yeah, I like that one too. It's a good combination of like, it could be like serious topics,
Yeah,
or it could be like comedy hour,
Exactly. Sometimes they'll have a stand-up comedian on,
like Ari Shaffir.
Yeah, Ari Shaffir or Joey
Bert.
Diaz, like we were talking about.
Burt Kreischer.
And then the next episode they'll be talking about something very scientific with like a teacher
or when they had Leah Remini on for the Scientology.
Exactly, for Scientology, stuff like that.
That was pretty interesting.
Absolutely. Or he'll have like one of his hunting buddies on because he does like bow hunting just recently.
Really?
Yeah, Joe Rogan. Yeah, so it's interesting. It's very eclectic, all the different topics that he has. So that's probably one of my favorite podcasts that I listen to. But like I was saying earlier, I wanted to get into what happened, when I was going to the studio last night. I was walking in my car, And you know, all of a sudden, this dog just came flying by me, and this lady was chasing after the dog down the street. She was losing her mind. You could see it in her face. She was just completely terrified. And you know, I felt bad for the lady. You know what I mean? I've lost dogs off of leashes before too. I mean, I finally caught up to him, but that dog was going. It was flying down the street, and I jumped in my car, and I finally got way ahead of it, and I jumped out, and we cornered it, a bunch of people. But literally, this dog ran across Van Nuys Boulevard, like Van Nuys and Dickens, or Van Nuys and Ventura, around that area. It was absolutely insane. It just flew right through it. I mean, it literally, if it jumped through like a second or a millisecond later, it would have got hit by a car. Like,
Whoa.
it just jumped between it like Frogger.
Yeah.
But you know, it was scary. But the lady was really, you know.
Was she like in pure panic? Was she crying?
Oh my God. Yeah, her face was just like pure terror. Like her eyes were huge, and she was talking really fast.
It's the scariest feeling when your dog does that. Like, I've had that happen to me, and it's the scariest feeling, especially like, you know, like, it's, I think with you, like, I've been around you when like the dogs have like, you know, and you're like a pretty fast runner, so you couldn't catch up to them. But for someone who's, I don't run, like I can't sprint like that, you know. So it is the scariest feeling when a dog gets away from you.
Yeah, they're not like a person. They have no concept of danger when they're in that fight or flight. So they might just run into the street and get hit by a car. It happens all the time.
Yeah. I mean, when we have a dog, well, we have 3 dogs. 2 of our dogs, luckily, we've had since they were like little. So we've kind of trained them to stay with us, even if they're off leash. You know, they walk with us, they stay with us.
What are our dogs' names? Why don't you tell them our dogs' names?
Our dog, we have 3 dogs. Our dogs, one of them is a pug who's like my heart and soul. His name is Pork Chop. We call him Porky. We have a Pomeranian named Mr. Bojangles, a cream-colored teacup Pomeranian named Mr. Bojangles. And we have a mutt that's like, I don't know what he is. He looks like he's poodle and Maltese, maybe.
He could be half squirrel. He could be like the first hybrid.
He is half squirrel.
That like maybe like a raccoon or something, because he looks like some weird creature that came out of like a sewer or something.
Yeah, he is. He just like, I don't know. My mom found him in downtown. She was driving. I don't know if it was from the doctors or to the doctors. She had like surgery that day or something. And he had darted across the street, like in a busy intersection, like probably like around Melrose or in Normandy, like that exit right there. I think it was like right around there. And, you know, downtown, it's like the streets are really busy, you know. So she saw him and he was like scared. And I think he ended up hiding under a car. And her and her friend ended up getting him out. And he looked really scared, and he was really thin, and he was one big knot. Like, it was like his hair had never been brushed or cut or anything.
Oh, man.
So he brought him home. I remember you couldn't even see his eyes, remember? Like, it was like, and she was like, what? She came home with him. She's like, what do I do with him? And I was like, well, I guess we have another dog now. Like, what do you mean? What do you do with him? Like, so we ended up naming him Chapo, like the Mexican cartel,
because he escaped.
The Sinaloa
because
cartel.
he escaped somebody.
Yeah, it looked like he had like a half collar, like on or something like that. Like he did belong to somebody, but he had been in this. Like we took him to the vet first, you know, like when we got him, and you know, just to make sure that he was okay. And
yeah, he wasn't drinking any water.
He wasn't drinking any water, so we were all concerned, you know, especially we didn't know if he had his shots or what could be wrong with him. So we took him to the vet. And we told the vet we found him in the street, because the vet was like, oh, wow, you know, and, you know, he's used to seeing our dogs, which are like very, you know, they eat better than us, you know, like they eat like organic, you know, Whole Foods chicken like every night. Like they're spoiled as can be. And, you know, there was this little dog who looked like, honestly, he was underweight. Like, I mean, you could see his bones.
Oh, yeah.
He was starved. And one of the reasons why we decided not to, like, because I was like, should we go back and see? I told the vet, like, we would probably go back and see if it belonged to anybody, but the vet advised me actually not to do that, because it said wherever it came from, it was definitely abused. So, yeah, so then that's when we were in the real dilemma, like, you know, what should we do with him? And we ended up keeping him, because we're not going to take him back to somewhere where he's being abused, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, we didn't know where he was from, but most rescues always have some type of issues, you know, some type of trust issue or
No, but
or
the
something.
vet, by the way that, you know, like, in terms of, like, his, I guess, his vitals and stuff, like, because you could see his ribs, like, it looked like he hadn't been fed in a long time.
Yeah, who knows how long he
So
was
the
out there,
vet
you know?
literally told us, like, he was abused, you know what I mean? Like, he was in a home where he was being abused.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, and he does have issues sometimes. Like, he wants to be part of the crew, but isn't sure, you know.
Yeah,
So,
he doesn't have much confidence, that
yeah,
dog.
he doesn't have a, like, if you pet him, he'll bury his face into your arms or chest, like, he doesn't want to be seen. So it's kind of sad, but it makes him, you know, it makes him who he is.
You know, he has a very interesting personality. The thing that I love about Chapo the most is his eyes.
They're very
He's
expressive.
always side-eyeing you,
Yeah.
like, you know, he's always measuring you up when you're passing by, but he doesn't want you to know, so he doesn't move his head. It's just his eyes follow you, like one of those paintings, you know, like in the old scary movies where the eyes would move in the portrait, you know. It's like that.
Yeah, he's definitely a special character.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm kind of excited coming up.
Oh wait, but did I finish telling you the story? Like, I
What?
think we like ended up going that I was walking him.
Okay.
I was walking him one time, and this is when we had just got him. And our dogs, like I said, our dogs are trained to stay. We never like really trained them, but they have it too good. They know they're not going anywhere else. They like they were like, bitch, we're sticking with you. So we, like, every time I walk them, like Pork Chop or Mr. Bojangles, whether they're on or off leash, they don't run.
They're
don't.
like, here is great.
Yeah, they don't run. They don't run. They're just, you know, they naturally train themselves to stick with us. When we open the door, they don't dart out, nothing. So I think one of the first times my mom told me to be careful, we had opened the door, and I think Chapo was trying to get out, or had gotten out, and if it wasn't for somebody at the end of the driveway, he would have probably bolted. But it was like maybe a week or two into, it must have been like a week and a half, and me and my sister decided to take a walk. And I don't know if I want to say we just took Chapo. Maybe we might have taken Mr. Bojangles, but we were walking him, and we decided to go, we started walking right here on the small street, and then we decided to go right on Ventura, and we were like rush hour. It was like 5:00 on a Sunday or something like that, or a Saturday or something like that. So it was really busy. Like, it was, like, you know, and especially right there on Ventura and Van Nuys, where all those restaurants and all that shopping is right there.
So
it
it's
gets
literally
really,
the same place where the other dog were that I
it gets
ran
really
past.
busy right there. And so we were walking, and somehow the leash slipped from my hand. It's like one of those retractable leashes. So the leash slipped from my hand, and the first thing Chapo did was jump onto the street right when a car was coming. So I was like so scared. I was like, oh my God. And I was with my sister. My sister completely froze. Useless. Useless.
Yeah, I wouldn't want her as backup in a war, you know?
And so
Maybe it's like someone just to draw the fire.
She was just
away.
like, she just completely froze, like did not move, was like shaking. And so I was like, okay. So when I saw him jump in front of that car, I jumped in front of that car too, because I know that if the car didn't see Chapo, it would definitely see me, and it wasn't going to hit me. You know what I mean?
Well, hopefully.
Well, yeah, hopefully. But so I jumped in front of the car. The car stopped and was like, you know, stopped like that.
Oh,
you know?
wow.
Yeah.
So it slammed on his brakes.
Yeah, slammed on us.
shit.
Definitely, the car moved, you know, like rocked on, you know. And then because of the retractable leash, because it's retractable, Chapo thought that something was chasing
Oh,
it,
man.
you know,
So-
or something was attacking it. So he starts bolting up and down the street on Ventura. Literally, I'm jumping in front of lanes so cars can stop.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, there was so many people out though, so they can see. So people start like forming a square, I guess, like around Chapo. People across the street, because I'm like yelling, like, somebody help me, like, and I'm yelling his name, and people are seeing me jump in front of the street trying to get him. And finally he darts and he tries to run in front, and then this girl crouches down and grabs him. Luckily, though, and my heart's pounding, tears are coming out of my eyes, you know what I mean? Tears are coming out of her eyes. My sister is like a tree, like, just, but like crying at the same time. And we end up just, she ends up just catching him, and then, I grabbed him, and I think we ended up going home. Like, we were just so traumatized.
Yeah, man, it's when your dog is outside by itself and it's scared, and it's just a whole different situation. It's not like you could just call its name and then it'll come to you.
It didn't know his name. We hadn't, named him yet.
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, it was definitely a scary experience, but I'm glad at the end of the day that the dog, we caught up to the dog.
Yeah.
And same thing with Chapo. I'm glad that you were there and jumped into action, and you thought of trying to block the cars, because that's the biggest thing that scares me whenever the dogs are out and alone.
He doesn't do that anymore now. He's been kind of, the other dogs have accustomed him, and he's kind of in a routine. Routine is very good for dogs. Like, anything that's like you do routinely with a dog, like, it's almost like they train themselves. They'll be trained to go to the bathroom. They'll be trained to, like, they'll stick with you. They'll listen to you.
It's true.
It's just about the routine of every day doing the same thing with them.
And they're pack animals, so.
And the other dogs teach them.
Absolutely. Well, they also look at you as like the alpha as well. Like, if you portray that to them, that's why some people's dogs are just completely out of control, because they're very submissive.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like like dog, especially Chapo. His personality, like Chapo's, is very, very submissive dog. So now he's part of the pack, and he doesn't bolt now, even if he's off leash. Like, the leash has gotten away from him when I've been walking him from time to time, because like the shape of him, he's more long and skinnier. So sometimes if you don't put it tight enough, it does get away from you. But now he won't bolt, he won't do anything like that. And I think, like you said, a lot of it comes from the pack mentality. The other dogs have trained him. He sees what the other dogs do, and
exactly,
he's comfortable here now.
He sees that we're not running, or the other dogs aren't running, so there isn't danger at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, to get on another topic, I'm pretty excited. Coming up next Saturday is UFC 216 with Tony Ferguson and Kevin Lee.
UFC.
Yeah, they're fighting for the lightweight championship, the interim championship, because Conor McGregor was boxing and fought Floyd Mayweather and everything, and was on hiatus. So they wanted not to hold up the whole division, and so they're having this fight between Tony Ferguson and Kevin Lee. And honestly, I think they're both the worst interviewers. Like, I mean, they're entertaining, but entertaining in a bad way. It's like cringeworthy. So it's probably, I like to call it the championship of the most cringeworthy UFC fighters, because I don't know about you, but Tony Ferguson just seems really douchey. He's just always wearing sunglasses. He's like one of those guys that wears like sunglasses in the club, like at night, or just walks around with sunglasses. I don't know if it's like
in a club before.
No, I'm just saying. He, in every interview, if he's inside or outside, he's always wearing sunglasses.
Yeah, that's usually like a tale of drug use, though.
Yeah, drug use or confidence.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want people to look at his eyes, or it's hard for him to look at his eyes, or he just thinks he's hot shit. He thinks he's cool or whatever. And
now I don't know anything about these fighters. Like, I go sometimes in and out of MMA, like following like each fight and stuff like that. Some of the bigger ones I'm more interested in, just to see, because they're so highly publicized. But yeah, I don't know much about this, so tell me about it. Anything you know?
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Lee has came up pretty recently. He's gotten a lot of attention from the whole drama with Michael Chiesa, for the when he got Michael Chiesa in and a rear naked choke, and the ref stopped the fight, even though that Michael Chiesa didn't tap out or didn't pass out.
I saw just that segment of it.
Yeah, so it was kind of controversial. He got a lot of controversy and a lot of attention from that. But
because he wasn't knocked out.
No, he didn't pass out. But I guess the ref thought, it was gonna happen just because of the way he saw his arms and everything. But Kevin Lee is also kind of known to be outspoken, but in a way that kind of seems forced. And people are trying to compare him to Conor McGregor, but in a bad way. Like, there's even like moments of interviews where Kevin Lee is literally stealing almost line by line some things that Conor is saying. Like, he had these glasses. Well, pretty much Conor before said his watch. He was like, look at this watch. He's like, 3 people died making this watch.
Oh my God. What a douchey.
Yeah, that's a douchey thing to say. But Kevin Lee said something like, look at my glasses. He's like, 13 buffalo died to give me these glasses. And I don't get that at all. I mean, last time I checked, glasses aren't made by like anything with buffalo in them. And why would 13 die? I don't know. It was really weird. And he just dresses kind of like Pootie Tang, like like Pootie Tang, that guy would like crack his belt. He's like, he dresses like Pootie Tang. Yeah, so he's the Pootie Tang fighter, and Tony Ferguson's just kind of awkward. He'll say weird things, like he'll start insulting people, but then he'll just like go off into like weird tangents, and he'll get like really detailed on what he's gonna do, and he's just very awkward, this dude. So it's gonna be interesting. I honestly, my pick is Tony Ferguson skill wise, but I'd like to see Kevin Lee win. Just because, I don't know, Tony Ferguson kind of bugs me. Just his personality.
Tony Ferguson's the dude with the glasses.
The dude with the glasses, yeah. He just comes off as, it's not, I think it's one thing to be cocky or confident. It's another thing to come off just like a dick or a douche. That's not funny. I think the reason why Conor is liked so much, he does say things that are dick-like and douchey, but it's the fact that he's funny while he does it. I think that's why people enjoy him, enjoy his banter and his talking. So that's why I have Tony Ferguson. Probably, I don't think it's gonna go to the decision. I think it's gonna be a 5-round fight because it's a main event, and I believe that probably in maybe the 4th round, I think Tony's gonna get the knockout. Not like totally knocked out, but TKO, like technical knockout. I think that the ref's gonna stop it. Just Tony Ferguson is just way too unconventional. He almost he moves like a breakdancer. So sometimes like someone will grab his waist, and instead of like wrestling with him, he'll literally do like a cartwheel to get out of it. It's like really.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, he's just a different type of fighter. He moves not like anybody else right now in the UFC.
Yeah, I think that's a good move, like a flow, like a dance.
Exactly.
Get out of it. Yeah.
Exactly. But I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be great. There's been a lot of build up, a lot of videos on YouTube. Like they've even made like claymation or cartoon plays on some of their conversations that they've had when they argued on the phone and things like that.
Oh yeah, you showed me one of them that was really funny.
Yeah,
it was of them talking shit to each other.
Yeah.
In the cartoon, and they made like a little cartoon out of it.
Yeah, it's so dumb, but it's so funny. Like it gives me a little joy, when I see like stupid things like that. So
this is a phone conversation that they had. This wasn't even for like press or anything.
No, it was literally like videotaped FaceTime conversation between both of them, and they just pulled it together and made it. But they're both so bad. Like, it's one thing to talk shit, but at the same time, I guess that's more of an opinion of what good talking shit is. I mean, some fighters are just like, they just see really cheesy things. I don't know if it's just that they put so many hours into training where they're not actually talking, so they kind of get less of a grip of how to have interaction or speaking. 'Cause sometimes it just seems fake or rehearsed or forced, or they're just trying to make something and not be themselves.
Right.
So we'll see how that goes, and who will be the champion of the most cringeworthy speakers. That's what I like to call it.
That's a good title. I like that.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Never mind the belt for
Yeah, because you do feel like sometimes some people, like you said, some people just don't know how to.
Yeah, they don't.
You're just like, you're so sitting there cringeworthy, like, like you're so embarrassed for them.
Yeah, why did they say it? Like, why did they say it? There's this one guy named Ben Rothwell. He's I believe a heavyweight fighter, and when he does his fight, like, you know, at the end of the fight when Joe Rogan pulls him in and then he talks to him and asks him what he's doing, he literally starts to put on like this like evil villain voice, and he even does like one of those fake like the Count Von Count from Sesame Street laugh. And he goes like, oh. It's just like one of those fake, like, tyrannical laughs. It's so ridiculous. And then you could tell that that's all that he rehearsed, because then Joe asked him another question he wasn't prepared for. And he just, like, broke out of character. And he's like, oh, yeah. It was just, like, so ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of fighters now, they feel a lot more pressure to be entertaining behind the mic. It's not just about, like, athletics anymore.
Well, I mean, it's the whole, I don't think it's now. I think that's, like, part of history, like, where it's the whole show and dance of it. You know,
Yeah.
It's the build-up that really makes the fight.
Yeah, it's entertainment at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So it is a sport, yes, but it's also
There's money behind it, and
Absolutely.
you want to bring as much attention to it as possible. That's what I'm saying. People like me sometimes that are not so, like, you know, follow every single MMA fight or follow every single thing about it. You know, our audience, like an audience or a target audience like us, gets involved when there's a lot of attention and hoopla surrounding it.
a lot of controversy.
Yeah, that's really what makes you motivated to watch the fights, you know.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, nobody. I mean, that fight between Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather never would have happened if Conor wasn't so outspoken. And same thing with Mayweather. If they weren't such outspoken people.
It was a show. It was like, who can, you know, it's like a peacock, who can show their feathers more, you know?
Yeah, you're right. You are absolutely right. But a lot of UFC fighters, they're getting pretty upset because the rankings aren't really getting followed. Like before, back in the day in the UFC, you would have to be like the number one contender or the second, you know, contender on the list to get a title shot. And now if you're a good speaker, you could be like the number 7 or the number 6. And you could get a title shot if you're a good speaker. So I guess, you know, that's my pick at the end of the day is Tony Ferguson is going to beat Kevin Lee by TKO via round 4 by strikes.
All right, well, we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see who ends up getting what. On which, when is it again?
It's next Saturday on October 14th. So you know, be ready for that. It's going to be great. So why don't we get into our next subject? It's our next topic. It's called
The news feed?
Yeah, the news feed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The news. Do you have a little intro song for it too?
I don't, but I could make one.
All right. So I decided to try to look up some of the news topics this week or I don't know if is it a weekly podcast that you do?
I'm trying to do maybe twice a week, but sometimes it might just be once a week. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Well, I guess the news topics for today, the first one, obviously, Las Vegas. That's a hard one. That's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a heavy subject.
And I wrote down just some notes of, you know, what happened, and just in case you've been, you know, not listening to the news or not aware, like, you really would have to be, like, not a part of any social media or not even have a computer or television or not go outside to not know.
You have to like
what
live in a
happened
commune
in Las Vegas
and not have any or be like a hermit in a cave or something.
But for those who don't know that what happened in Las Vegas, there was one of the deadliest mass shootings in U.S. history. A guy by the name of Stephen Paddock, who was 64 years old, basically carried 10 firearms into the Mandalay Bay, I think it was.
Yeah, I believe it was the Mandalay Bay.
And during a festival, I think it was country music playing, but the festival, I don't know if I have the name of the festival, but there was a festival going on where there was some country music playing.
Mm-hmm.
And there was about 22,000 people that attended that festival. And he knocked out one of the windows in the Mandalay.
Yeah, he broke it with
Bay.
a hammer.
He broke it. Yeah, you could see it definitely. Like, if you look at some of the images that's around the story, you'll see the window broken, and he just started firing into the crowd.
That's insane.
They said that he made the rifles into what they call a bump stock.
Yeah, they add an attachment to it. It's like,
I've never heard of that term before till this time.
Because you can't buy fully automatic weapons. You can only buy semi-automatic weapons, where a semi-automatic and a fully automatic are different. If people don't know, the semi-automatic means you have to pull the trigger each time for each round to come out, as opposed to holding the trigger back. It just lets out the whole clip. Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Yeah. So he had basically made it into bump stock, at least one rifle, they said, but they don't know how many exactly, or they haven't reported how many exactly, but some of the rifles were made into bump stocked rifles. And he just started shooting into the crowd, and you can see people, trying to, like, you see at first it sounds like firecrackers or like some sort of fireworks, and it's so like fast. It's literally like pop 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 pop.
Yeah, literally, I read that he could shoot 400 rounds a minute.
Yeah,
with that attachment on it.
Yep, and he just started firing into the crowd. The singer, at first you could tell the singer's like disoriented. He doesn't know really what's going on. It's like a country music singer. I don't know his name, but he's like disoriented. He's kind of looking, he's still singing, but he's kind of looking at the crowd as, because people started, they didn't know what was going on. There were so many people that people still didn't know what was going on when it first started, but you start to hear some around that area where people are getting hit, some chaos, and all of a sudden you just see the country singer bolt to the back, like he starts running to the back of and then the lights go on in the whole festival, and people start running, people are ducking, everybody's yelling "get down," and people are holding their loved ones, trying to get everybody out. And yeah, it's definitely a crazy sight to see.
A lot of people sprung into action. I heard, I read one news article that said one guy stole a van, and rescued 30 bleeding people and took them to a hospital.
A lot of people, what they started doing is they started lining up their cars to see whoever was wounded, to start taking them to the hospital.
Wow.
Yeah, just to drive them to the hospital. There were so many people injured. I think it was like reported around 500, I think, people injured, and it was like 50 or 60 people that were killed in this horrible, horrible thing that took place. What was kind of weird was that, and I didn't read up much about it, but it was mentioned that at first the Islamic State took credit for it.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard about this controversy, but supposedly he got a withdrawal of over $100,000 from a bank in the Philippines the day before.
That's interesting that you mentioned that too, because I was just gonna say he was with someone in the hotel room. Her name, it was a woman. It was apparently his girlfriend. Her name was Mary Lou Donnelly. She is 62, and she fled to the Philippines. Yeah, and I think she might be Filipino. I'm not sure, but she did flee to the Philippines.
Wow.
I'm not sure if she fled or she was there beforehand, actually, but she was not in the country. I'll say that she I don't know don't quote me on her fleeting, but she's definitely there as this took place, and she's on her way back to answer some questions under the investigation that's going on.
Wow.
Yeah. So but I did want to say regarding the Islamic State that even though there was some talk of them claiming it, they found that he had no ties to it.
No ties to like ISIS or any...
as of right now. So any, whoever
extremists.
investigators found that there was no ties between him and the Islamic State, but there was some talk that they took credit for it. The only thing that's really known about him is that he was a high flying gambler. His brother said he was wealthy and that he lived in a retirement community, and that most of the people said that they thought that he was a normal guy. His brother said that he had no clue and no, I think his brother talked to him like 6 months ago though, and he had no signs of anything wrong with him. He was mentally ill, but that he did pass every background check.
Did you know that he was a slip and fall guy? You know what a slip and fall guy is? Mm-mm. It's one of those people that kind of look for, let's say something spilled on, the floor at a grocery store or something like that, and then they try to slip and get money. Yes. So there was a story about how he was in a casino in Vegas, and he stepped on a place that had a lot of liquid or water on it, and he slipped and fell. And he said supposedly that he tore his hamstring and hurt something else, and he tried to sue the casino and he said that he had over $22,000 worth of medical bills, and he lost. They didn't award him any money because they said all the other people that didn't see any spill on the floor or was easily avoidable, the spill. So he might be one of those guys that sees puddles and tries to take a fall to make money, which might be some type of weird motive in somebody's head that has a disease like that maybe he feels slighted that he didn't get his medical bills paid. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just trying to put things together. I mean, how can you really put yourself in someone's mind like that when they're not thinking logically? You can't think. I feel like in my mind you can't really use logic when you try to find out why a person does something like that.
Yeah. But I know, I will touch on this now that you mentioned about, his dad was known as some sort of con artist too. And he was arrested for bank robbery.
Bank robbery?
Yeah. I guess the father of what's his name, Stephen Paddock, was kind of not in their lives. He was arrested on bank robbery. He was known as a con man, arrested on bank robbery, and ended up serving time in jail. And his what did they say? He ended up escaping from the jail that he was at. Yeah. He was an escape, and he was in the FBI's most wanted list.
Oh.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's probably mental illness that runs maybe in the family. Maybe his dad was.
What do you feel about that? Do you feel like having a tendency to do criminal acts? Do you think that's genetic? Do you think that there's
I don't want to say that. No.
Well, that maybe it's not you're guaranteed to be that, but maybe you're more inclined with, depending on your environment, that you might be more into adrenaline type of situations, stealing. Or...
But that's the difference. You just said the main word there. Depending on their environment. That's,
absolutely.
That's not. It's nature versus nurture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It depends if you grow up on that or not. I don't want to put it out there that because some people commit crimes, that means their kids will commit crimes or their kids will commit crimes. But I want to say that maybe there is some forms of mental illness that run down, and maybe, certain situations maybe can cause, crimes to happen or likely crimes to happen. So, but yeah, apparently, they are mentioning mental illness a lot during this this story, and it's a horrible thing that happened. I can't imagine what the families are going through. My heart, my heart and prayers and love goes out to all the families that were affected by what happened in Las Vegas. And then, touching in that, I want to mention, one of the more powerful things that I saw was Jimmy Kimmel's monologue.
Yeah.
Jimmy Kimmel, he's a comedian, a night talk show
host. Yeah.
At night. I don't know. Pretty much everybody knows him, I think. But just in case you don't know him, he's a nighttime talk show host, and he mentioned it he did a powerful monologue. I don't know if it was Monday night. Or he's in tears, and he's talking about gun control you know, in
It's a touchy
America.
subject to a lot of people in America. I mean, we're really divided polar like.
I don't think that's what he was saying at all. If you look at his monologue, he was basically running down statistics where most people vote that they want background checks on stricter background checks on, you know, gun control for people who are getting guns, and some, you know, there aren't strict enough. Personally, myself, I believe that guns can only escalate a situation.
Absolutely.
That's my belief in it. I know that a lot of people or other people may feel differently, but I don't like weapons. I think they're, you know, if everybody doesn't have them, I think they're unnecessary for everyone to have. It's, you know, America is one of the more progressive countries, you know, that there are, and yet we have the worst cases of mass shootings.
Well, I feel like just like a lot of the laws are outdated. They were written during a time when there was a lot more crime. You know what I mean? Like if you look at your Bill of Rights per se, you know, it's like you have freedom of speech and freedom to bear arms. It's interesting that that's right after it. You know why? Because if you're gonna say anything that you want, you're probably gonna have to need a weapon back then. You know, because people will get shot for just, you know, insulting somebody on a regular basis, you know, like the Wild West times. And I feel like a lot of our laws that we have now need to be changed, because it's not like we're going to have like a revolution and overthrow the United States. That would never happen. So it wouldn't really matter if we had automatic weapons or anything like that. And you don't need to hunt with an automatic weapon. It's like, I don't see any reason to have an automatic weapon.
Right. There's no reasons there should be like, you know, war machine gun type weapons that people should have. Like I said, I don't believe in those type of weapons at all. I think it's unnecessary. I think the less that we have them, the less things that will happen. I do believe that. I just, you know, people have asked me, you know, would you ever get a gun, or how do you feel about guns? And I always say, like, you know, there are some friends that I have that have been like, you know, I want to have my weapon. When somebody else comes, they have their weapon. It's either them or me, and I'm definitely choosing them, you know. But I just don't believe, even if you are protecting yourself, it's just, it escalates the situation. You know what I mean? I just don't believe in anyone having any
Absolutely.
type of
I mean,
weapons.
isn't it like statistically proven that if you own a weapon, your chances go up,
Right.
like extremely high of getting shot by your own weapon?
Right, yeah.
Just getting shot in general.
Right.
Because you're escalating the situation. I feel like even if someone breaks in, it's like, yeah, you want to be able to protect yourself. I hear that. But at the same time, if you pull a gun and you start shooting, it turns into a life or death situation.
Right.
And they're more likely, if they have a weapon, to shoot you instead
Or
of
what
just
if
leave.
they get the weapon away from you? Especially
Absolutely.
as being a girl, you're not as necessarily strong as I'll say for myself. There are some girls that are, you know, stronger out there. I'm giving them credit. Cyborg.
Yeah. If they broke into Cyborg's house, they have a big problem.
She'll be fine. But somebody like me, you know, might not be able to keep the weapon in my hand. And then all of a sudden my own gun is staring back at me.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. Or maybe they had a weapon, they had no intention of using it, but then once they saw you pull one, they're thinking like, if I don't shoot this person, I'm gonna die.
Right. Yeah. It just escalates the situation. Or then you're faced with, what if you are in a life and death situation, but somebody ends up feeling, you know, all of a sudden you end up shooting that person, you end up accidentally killing that person or something like that, and then all of a sudden you're under investigation whether it was
rifle shooting. Wrongful shooting, rifle
exactly.
shooting.
And just, it, to me, all that scares me. Like,
Absolutely.
And I just feel like not having it avoids all of the problem.
And also, you got to think too, when someone breaks into your house, or you think someone's breaking into your house, your adrenaline is pumping. And let's say if it's late and it's really dark, what if it's not someone breaking into your house?
Yeah, what if it's like you?
Yeah, what if it's me coming and then you end up shooting me?
Yeah,
you know?
I'm like, oh, sorry, babe.
Yeah.
My bad.
My bad. Did I shoot
Does
you
it
in the leg? Yeah, but that happens a lot. You know, people's adrenaline starts pumping and they shoot a family member by accident or a friend, or, you know, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's
definitely. Like, I just think, you know, regarding his monologue, he definitely had a very good monologue. And I think, you know, if you haven't seen it yet, it's on YouTube and people should go watch his monologue. I think it's very inspiring. And I think he says a lot of valid points. He talks about how, he gives statistics on how many people are for stricter gun laws, and what how there should be change by now. I was reading a statistic too that there was 270 shootings, mass shootings that occurred in the United States in 2017.
Only 2017?
Yep, that's what it had said.
Wow.
I got that from Complex News, which is another like news source, and that I looked up, and I was shocked by that number. The year isn't even over, and it's like we have that many, and there was, I think he even mentioned another shooting that happened right after Las Vegas. I don't know if it was either the day before or the day after Las Vegas, where 5 people died, and you didn't even hear about that story because it's like it gets run over by another mass shooting, and that's what happens. It's like another mass shooting will happen that will maybe overlook, or like it'll fade Las Vegas basically, because the next one will come, and then the next one will come, and no change is happening. And I think it is about time that somebody does something, like that, or us as a community start writing to senators and writing to our lawmakers that there should be a change happening.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree with you. There needs to be stricter regulations on firearms and who can buy firearms and where you can buy firearms and things of that nature. I completely agree with you.
Yeah. So I just wanted to mention Jimmy Kimmel's monologue and mentioning Las Vegas. I thought it was powerful, and everybody should definitely see it.
Got anything else?
Yeah, my last news story that I have to touch on was the deaths of Hugh Hefner and Tom Petty. Tom Petty was 66. And Hugh Hefner, I think, was 91, I want to say. And both of these people are definitely game changers in the world of media and entertainment. And Hugh Hefner was, discovered or founded Playboy.
Yeah,
was the creator of Playboy, and which is definitely an iconic staple of United States history. Definitely.
Absolutely. It was more of like a classy history type of like nudie magazine.
Who knew that you could be naked classily? Class.
I mean, he definitely wasn't like the guy who made Hustler. Hustler was like a really raunchy type of magazine.
Right.
Playboy was like a lot more classy. They wouldn't show actual genitals.
Isn't like the raunchiest like Cars and Girls or something like that?
Cars and Girls.
Where
they like just laid out on the hood of a car. Or something?
Just showing roast beef in your face.
Roast beef.
It's like just angles of roast beef in your face. I think that's what they get raunchier and raunchier. But Playboy is supposed to be one of the classier nudie magazines.
Did you know for a little bit when Hugh Hefner's son took over the magazine, they tried to do like a trial period where they had no naked photos in it? They tried to clean it up.
I think I did hear something about that, yeah.
But it didn't go too well, you know what I mean? I mean, it's Playboy. I mean, it's kind of like, let's make like a gun magazine but not have any guns in it,
Right, exactly. So, yeah, he was discovered, or founded, I should keep saying discovered, founded the Playboy magazine. And also Tom Petty was probably one of the greatest musicians of all time. Did many hits. One of my favorite was Let's Dance with Mary J. One more time to kill the pain. You know? That was like in the 90s, I think.
Yeah, man.
I remember that music video. It used to come out of the box. I don't know if anybody remembers the box out there, but here we used to watch the box religiously, and it would come on the box. Or MTV too, back in the day.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? Tom Petty literally had a concert at the Hollywood Bowl maybe last week.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So that goes to tell you, sometimes, you have to appreciate every moment that you have in your life. It sounds cheesy as hell, but it's so true. A lot of things that sound really cheesy and really like over the top or just like something anyone would say are true. It's sad, but at any moment things can change. He obviously felt good enough to throw a concert for thousands of people, and now a week later he passed away.
Oh, which is that's what frightens me, is that aspect of it that you can just, from one day to the next, it could change.
Yep, any moment. So I mean, that goes to show you, if you want to do something with your life,
do it.
Yeah, seriously, just go out there and do it. It's okay to fail. So everybody fails at one point or another.
That's
and
what makes you better and stronger.
Exactly.
You learn from your failures.
And you don't want to be one of those like what if type of people. Like,
Me,
what
on the
if
other
I
hand,
did this?
I'm perfect. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, so if there's something you're thinking about, or like you kind of want to get into, just dive into it. Just try it, and find fulfillment in life. I feel bad. There's so many people out there that they don't go out on a limb and try to find that happiness for themselves. They try to look for happiness in different ways, in ways that aren't really fulfilling, like not ways that don't just make your life better in general. It's just like a situational type thing. You gotta fight for your happiness. No one else is gonna find it for you.
Yeah. Those are good, definitely words. But yeah, I just wanted to remember Tom Petty and Hugh Hefner. And
wow, man.
Rest in peace.
I'm feeling old, when I start hearing all these people that are passing away. It's crazy to me. Time flies by so quickly.
Yeah. But like you said, make the most of it. The mimosa of it.
The mimosa of it.
The mimosa of it. Yeah. Well, I kind of wanted to end the podcast on a lighter note.
Okay.
Since, there were pretty heavy topics and serious topics all throughout the podcast.
Okay, shoot. What do you think?
So I'm thinking we should play Would You Rather.
Would you rather? Oh, man.
Me and Adam and I had a Would You Rather recently. One of the nights he ended up coming home from work, and it was pretty funny, some of the questions that we were asking each other, or like what situational types. It was more questions I was asking him, but our answers were pretty funny. So one of the first ones I think I asked him was, would you rather go without, which actually was I saw in, this question I saw it from a YouTuber. Her name is Jess Andrea.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's her YouTube name. She happens to be Logic's wife.
Oh,
the
okay.
rapper Logic. And she asked a question, would you rather have no electronics, meaning no phone, no computer, nothing for 1 month, or lick a homeless guy?
Lick a homeless guy. Oh my god.
I asked you that one day. And do you want to say your answer?
Oh my god, that's
and then
tough for
he
me,
did
man.
ask me how homeless.
How homeless?
Yeah.
Like
And
from
I was
like
pretty homeless.
1 to like holy shit, like I can't smell anything but this like human being scent.
Yeah, it was like it's a homeless dude.
I think I actually asked like, where do I have to lick them to? Like where, what part do I have to lick?
You did ask that.
Like there's any difference in where?
Yeah, I was just like, you have to lick them. Wherever,
God.
I don't know. It's just you have to lick them. I think you ended up going with the lick.
Licking the homeless guy. Yeah, I mean, that's so sad. I mean, but it's just, you got to understand, like, I do everything with electronics. I do, like, my music, I do this podcast, everything. My life revolves around electronics, unfortunately, and it'd be very tough for me to go a month without electronics.
Yeah,
it's
I
sad.
agree.
It's so ridiculous. I sound like such a millennial saying that, but it's so true.
No, I use my phone a lot as a source of entertainment, and I don't think I can go a month without it.
Yeah, like just in my situation right now. Let's say maybe I could do it if it was like, okay, you can't use electronics, but you're going to go on a trip around the world or something like that. I could do that. But if it's just, the same old grind and nothing else added, I would sadly have to lick a homeless person. It would be horrible. I'd literally want to like take like sandpaper to my tongue after and just like destroy my taste buds. But yeah, that's probably what I do. Oh god.
Okay, so I have a couple other questions.
Go for it. Shoot, I'm worried. I'm a little
I
worried what I'm
ended up-
gonna let out on this podcast.
What I ended up was typing like more common or the most would you rather questions asked, and apparently BuzzFeed came up with a couple of them, and I just figured we could just steal them and ask each other these questions.
Do our own version? Okay, shoot. I'm nervous.
So,
oh, snap.
The first one, now I haven't read through these, so I just looked it up, and there was like a list of them, so I just decided we did, find them out together. Like,
All right.
You know, we read them together.
Let's do it.
The first one is, would you rather smell like poop and not know it, or constantly be smelling poop that nobody else can smell?
Oh my God. And this is just like the rest of your life, or what?
It doesn't specify, but I'm just saying.
'Cause that's pretty horrible. Either way, that's like.
Yeah, this is the condition.
This is the condition.
Yeah.
This is your life now.
Yeah, right. This is your life now. You either smell like poop and not know it. Or...
How technical are we? Can I just like douse myself with cologne so it's just like poop and cologne?
No, you
like
can't.
Like a poopy
change,
cologne?
You can't change it. Well, maybe it'll be like a poopy cologne, I guess. But you could put cologne, but the poop smell will not go away.
But then the other option is you would
smell poop that nobody else can smell.
All the time. Is that the only scent you're going to smell? Or is it just like a hint of there? Because you would think after a while, just like, you know how when people smell.
That's the scent that you would most smell.
That you would most smell. But
not only smell, but most smell.
Honestly, I think I would do that. I think I would rather smell poop here and there. You know why? Because, you know, if you think about it, when someone like smells really bad, I'm sure like homeless people too, they kind of get used to the smell after a while. So it would probably blend in after a while. It wouldn't be so like shitty.
No
you pun
can't
intended.
Change it. You cannot change it. You would always be smelling.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But at the same time, I think you would get used to it.
There's no getting used to it. No, that's what I'm trying to tell you. There's no getting. This is the situational purpose of it. There's no getting used to it. You'd always smell it.
Oh man! But then there's a part of me that wants to be like, fuck everybody. You know, they could smell me smelling like shit all the time. But I don't think I'd have many friends if I always smelled like shit.
Or maybe even a job.
Yeah. Yeah, you got a point there. And I don't think you'd want to be in a relationship with me either, Drea, if I was always smelling like shit.
Right, yeah. If you smell like poop all the time, it might be a deal breaker.
Yeah, Drea is probably thinking in the back of her head, like, what is this different than from every day? You already smell like shit all the time.
No, I don't think that.
Smell good, baby.
I'm going to say I would rather smell poop. Although, because I'm just so self-conscious of me smelling that I think I would rather just smell poop that nobody else can smell.
I mean, I wonder how violent the smell of poop is, because you know how there's some like really bad poop smells, and then there's like this dude fart in the car, like that type of poop smell, or is it like, yo, like somebody just like?
It's pretty poopy.
Oh man, that's pretty bad either way. Is there another option to like
trying to change
be in a coma or something like that instead?
It's just you either smell the poop or you smell like poop.
Jesus.
Yours is?
Smell poop.
All right, so we both agreed on that one.
That would be horrible.
Yeah, it would be. It's terrible.
You better, hey, people, if this came to like reality, you better be thankful that, you know, like, I'd rather smell poop than have you guys smelling me like poop all the time.
All right, so the second one is, would you rather eat only roadkill for the rest of your life?
Oh, no.
Or have everyone else in the world sound like Gilbert Gottfried?
Oh, Jesus. Sound like Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Or eat roadkill for the rest of my life.
I gotta go with Gilbert, I think.
Damn. These are all really bad options. There's like nothing that's even...
Oh, that's pretty bad.
to be honest, like, if I just listen to Gilbert Gottfried, like, for half an hour, I literally feel like sticking an ice pick through my ear.
Have you ever heard, like, I listened to this Howard Stern, I forget what episode. It was an episode of the Howard Stern show. And Gilbert calls Gary and leaves a message for Gary. And have you ever heard his, like, what Howard calls his normal voice?
Wait, he has a normal voice?
He has, like, a regular, like...
So, like, he turns it on, he gets all screechy?
Yeah.
Really?
Like, I guess, like, yeah, he, like, starts... That's, like, a
it's
voice.
Like a stick.
A stick, yeah, that he does. But yeah, like, he calls Gary and leaves, like, and Howard's like, that's frightening. It's like a really weird, just low tone voice, like, really? Very calm. You don't recognize him at all.
That's
like, I didn't even
weird.
think it was Gilbert.
I mean, why would you want to sound that annoying on purpose?
I don't know. I people tend to do certain things, you know, like you said, for shtick, you know.
Yeah, but damn, I mean, like, I mean, maybe during the time when he first started, maybe it's
made him a lot of money.
Yeah, it's his image, but
yeah, people know him for that.
But nowadays, people are just like, oh my god, Gilbert Gottfried.
People know him for that, obviously enough to put it in a fucking question and for us to ask it.
Oh my god, roadkill, eat roadkill.
I'm going with Gilbert.
You're going with Gilbert. You want everybody to sound like him?
I can't. I can't eat roadkill.
Well,
for the rest of my life.
I mean, if you think about it, though, I mean, sometimes like deer or chickens get hit by cars. So I mean, it's like
yeah, but you're also looking at like.
So you literally eating? No. But I wonder how specific it is. Like, did it literally just get run over by a car, and you're eating one that got ran over by a car? Because that's what roadkill is. Mm-hmm. So you'd have to eat shit you just found on the street that got ran over by a car.
Yes.
And that's the only thing you could eat.
Yes.
Fuck, man. Oh no. I guess I'd have to go with Gilbert Gottfried.
Like squirrel testicle.
Just like crushed squirrel with like rubber on it from like the tire.
Right.
Oh fuck. Yeah, everyone would have to be annoying as fuck as Gilbert Gottfried, it sounds like.
Yeah, me too.
At that point, I think I would like electively go deaf though. I'd be like, fuck it, you know? It's over. It's over. Who needs to hear anymore?
Okay. So I'm not gonna go in order. I'm just gonna skip through some of these questions just to get to better questions. Now, would you rather? This is. I have to ask this. As I was going through the list, I have to ask this because this is definitely an issue with me.
What?
But would you rather be itchy for the rest of your life, or be sticky for the rest of your life?
Oh.
See, the reason why I had to ask this is because I hate sticky. Like, sticky is just my personal hell. Like, I cannot. I think, like, I don't, like, you know me. Like, I cannot be, like, any sort of.
Yeah, you literally get anxious.
Sticky. Yeah.
You get anxious if there's anything sticky. Like, if I touch you and I, like, let's say I just ate or something, there's a little bit of sauce on my finger.
Nope.
Or something like that. Like, she freaks out.
I cannot do sticky. Sticky is just. Ugh.
She literally almost, like, bats my hand away. Like, ew. What?
Yeah, like sticky or like some sort of like even especially like moist sticky. I guess,
okay,
you know
like when you're
like
humid.
Body sticky.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
I don't like that at all. Like I don't like any.
Like when your clothes are sticking to you.
Yeah, like when you're perspiring. Yeah, you're perspiring. You're not sweating. You're just perspiring, and you're sticky. You feel like you're sticky.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's not cool.
No.
So, what is it? Sticky for the rest of your life, or what?
Or itchy.
Or itchy for the rest of your life.
Itchy is pretty bad too.
But at the same time,
I suffer from psoriasis, so there's some areas of me anyway that I tend to get itchy. Like usually it's around my. Usually, I just heard a cat outside. Sorry. You hear that?
Yeah, I don't know if anyone could hear that through the microphone, but there's like a cat just like meowing outside of our window for like no apparent reason.
My sister says that when she used to live at my dad's house, she would hear the cats, like, I guess there's a lot of cats around his area.
Okay.
She's like, I would hear sometimes the cats making love. She said, I was like, making love?
That's putting it delicately.
Yeah. And she was like, I would hear the cats making love, and it would be like, but she's like, but sometimes I'd wonder if they were okay, because it'd be like, all like crazy.
Well, I mean, is it really, see, in the animal kingdom, it's kind of weird. It's like, is it really like consensual sex?
Well, yeah, that's an interesting thing that you brought up because, George Takei, the Howard Stern used to say that animals are everything. There's no sexuality in animals. So, like, animals are gay, they male animals.
And they're like rapists too, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's.
I mean, they like pin them down.
Yeah, but there's no sense of consensual.
Well, it seems that way with cats, though, at least. Because it seems like when cats have sex, it's like the woman, like the girl cat, is not seem too happy about the situation. You know what I mean? Like, she seems pretty pissed off. And I've seen a cat literally bite. I mean, maybe they're into some freaky shit, doing the cats or whatever. They like to bite their neck or something. Who knows? But,
no, I've seen some cats like straight up like lift their ass to get mounted.
Yeah, but that's when they're in heat. But I've seen it before where a cat, like a boy cat, was just like, yo, I'm gonna get my rocks off. Like if you can't get away fast enough, I'm gonna bite you and hold you down, type of shit.
It's not like.
And then he just runs off into a tree, like, I did this shit, and just left.
Really doesn't want to, like.
I mean, they do have fucking claws.
Yeah, it'll fight pretty. I've seen cats fight off other cats.
Yeah,
it'll
like claw their little cat dick off,
I don't know about that, but it'll just it'll definitely make an attempt to not be mounted. I've seen that before.
Well, back to your thing. I mean, I don't know about you, but sometimes when you're itchy, it depends. There's an annoying itchy, like your back or something like that. Like if you have a shirt you just bought, or maybe the tag makes you itchy, that's kind of hell. But there's some types of itchy, when you kind of scratch it, you feel like this relief, like like, you know what I mean? It's not like the worst thing in the world. So it really depends on the type of itchy it is.
You're itchy.
It's still you're itchy. Where are
I like
you
how
itchy
you like
is the question.
you like to change.
This is my thought process.
Yeah,
I'm trying to figure out a way to like make it okay in my head.
Exactly. And it's not.
I'm trying to work this thing out. Yeah, it's just come together. They both suck. Like either way is horrible. But sticky, it really depends if it's your whole body. I feel like, because if it's like one part, if let's say it's just my pinky that's always sticky, I'd be like, fuck it, my pinky's sticky.
You're pretty itchy all over. I'll say that.
That's fucking horrible.
Just like you would be sticky. You'd be sticky all over.
I think I would go with sticky. Because at least sticky, I'd feel like you just kind of get used to it though.
No, you could never.
You just get stuck.
No.
You know what I mean?
No,
but
no.
itchy, that's like you can't even sleep. Well, you probably can't sleep being sticky.
I can't. Yeah.
I think we're different on that one.
Yeah.
I think we're different on that one.
Yeah.
I feel like you can't. I feel like there can be parts of you that are sticky as long as they're not touching anything. They don't feel sticky because they're not. There's nothing for it to stick to.
You feel sticky like within yourself.
Yeah, but I get that. Like if your clothes are sticking to you, but let's say you just have like a sticky hand. If you don't touch anything with your sticky hand, it doesn't feel sticky.
I don't know. It feels pretty sticky to me.
But you feel like a layer on there of like
Yeah.
goo or
Yeah.
what?
That's
Of like
exactly
mystery
it.
goo, like sticky goo.
Yeah. That's what it feels
Where
like.
did that sticky goo come from? That's the question.
Okay. Right.
Is that where we're moving on?
Yeah, this is where we move on. Okay. I'll ask two more. Would you rather eat a bowl of vomit or lick a hobo's foot?
Or like a hobo's foot?
Yeah.
Or eat a bowl of vomit?
It's similar to the one that we first were talking about.
Good lord. Whose vomit is it? Is it your vomit? Is it our vomit? Is it your own vomit? Or is it like a collective, like thrown together bowl of vomit? A communal bowl of vomit.
A mystery vomit. We'll say that.
A mystery vomit?
Yeah.
Or lick a homeless man's foot. That's pretty bad, because like, you know, that dude's just been like walking on those suckers, you know, like there's some heavy duty calluses and walking going on in there, you know, with their like half put together shoes and God knows what they're stepping on. I don't know. I think either one you could get really sick off. Actually, I think I would go with vomit, to be honest, because you can get really sick. I think you might be able to catch like a serious disease off of licking a homeless person's foot.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna go with the homeless foot.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You'd lick a homeless person's foot.
Yeah.
See, but if you eat the bowl of vomit,
Like,
you'll probably end up throwing up as well. So it's not like you're gonna digest the vomit. It doesn't say you have to like digest it.
Yeah, but you might I think.
But it's mystery vomit. That's
yeah,
kind of
it's
gross.
mystery vomit,
So
and
that
not
could
just
get you sick,
that.
too.
Licking a hobo's foot takes like what 2 seconds. The fucking vomit, for you to eat that shit,
It's a whole
bowl
bowl
of vomit is gonna be at least 10-20 minutes.
Yeah, that's a pretty prolonged. But what if this homeless person has like a staph infection on their foot? It's like some serious shit. Which most homeless people do. They have staph, a lot of them, because pretty much you get staph from like it's a big danger in like jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. If you have a cut and unwashed human being, you know, type of bacteria gets into your cut, you get staph.
No, I know. Yeah, I know what staph is.
So that's why they recommend that you trim your nails before you go to a jiu-jitsu class, or you're really showered up and shower, you know, as soon as you get home, and you know, make sure you don't have any cuts and stuff like that.
I just think like I said, time-wise, I just, eat this. I'd take my chances on a couple seconds over like 10-20 minutes.
Maybe you're right. And it didn't say you had to like completely like cover the bottom of their foot in like saliva or something. It's just like you could probably just like tap your tongue and just be like, ew. Ew.
Yeah. So, what are you gonna say?
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna change it to.
Hobo's foot.
Yeah, you sold me on a hobo's foot.
Good choice. Okay, and then this will be the last. Would you rather? This was I saw this one, so I had to ask. Would you rather watch your parents have sex every day for the rest of your life?
No.
Or join in once to stop it?
No. Oh, no.
Or join in once to stop it?
That's a crime, I'm pretty sure. Is that a crime? I believe that's a crime.
It's definitely traumatizing.
I think licking a hobo's foot should be a crime, though, too. So, watch your parents have sex.
For the rest, every day. For the rest. Oh no, are we being outed? Is this like the Emmys music?
Yeah, I guess we gotta rush through it. This is the ending, so I guess we reached
I guess we reached
our
it.
limit.
Quickly, what's your answer?
My answer, watch my parents, I guess, for the rest of my life.
Me too.
It would be a horrible existence, but I guess that's what it would be.
Alright, well, I guess this was it. Good podcast?
Good podcast. Nice job. Thanks. Wonderful guest. I want to get her on regularly. We'll see if I can twist her arm to do it.
We'll see y'all.
All right, everybody. Take care.
Bye.